You're still watching the Eastern Business Report right here on the Afia Business Morning. In recent weeks, heavy rainfall has battered parts of the southeast, leaving rice farms in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, waterlogged and submerged. In Izzi local government area, farmers say they've already lost a significant portion of their crop, raising fears in the 2025 harvest. And across the border in Nsukka, Enugu State, Ugwuoye community has also been hit by severe flooding, damaging homes, shops, and farmland. Recall that the Nigerian Meteorological Agency had warned earlier this year of above normal rainfall and heightened flood risk for Ebonyi. Yet the reality on the ground suggests the region is struggling to cope. Joining me to unpack the economic and agricultural implications of this situation is Pastor Ifechukwu Gabriel Anijeku, Managing Director of Pinga Agro-Investment Limited, with years of experience in agro-investment and farmer support systems. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Okay, there's no need to, go over the narrative again. I just want to get your reaction. How do you feel about this?
Well, I feel sad because I understand what farmers go through, even to get to production. And if all your months of hard work is destroyed by flood, the implication is very severe both to the farmer and the economy generally, but because the farmer is depending on that for their future income, if you understand. So he's depending on those products for his future income, and now it's like looking at the future as being bleak, because what he's expecting to depend on the next cycle seems to have been flushed away by water.
Now, this we can't say we didn't see this coming, because there was a prediction. NIMET predicted Ebonyi as one of the states in the southeast to experience above normal rainfall. What should the government have done then? Because it seems like we have this attitude of wanting to, give palliatives after it's done. Would I say healing the wounds instead of avoiding what would have caused the injury?
Palliative really doesn't heal any wound, because palliative is something you give to manage the situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't heal, because healing is like you restore the person to his former state. That's why palliative is just give palliative and just survive, just don't die yet. It's like a cancer patient that is, just being given chemotherapy, even though the doctor knows that this might lead to death. So, but that's by the way. It's very sad that our governments, they are not proactive at all. NIMET has been predicting, but even without the prediction, given our knowledge about what's happening in terms of climate change, the increasing level of rainfall that is happening around all these axes, you expect that the government should be more proactive in terms of making sure that their flood drains, canals, infrastructures required to minimize the impact of this flood and any other is in place. But clearly it is not. So we're always reacting, and it's very sad. And let's face it, just reading, many people lost their life. Many people lost their life, lost their livelihood, lost their houses. And the future now looks bleak to some of the farmers. And the economy as a whole in Ebonyi will be seriously affected, because they have one of the highest number of rice mills in Nigeria. And all these rice mills depend on off-takers from these farms to support their year-round production. Well, the implication is this: more of them may be doing 50% capacity in the coming year, or even 25% capacity. What happens to the workforce? All those will be thrown into the unemployment market. And what of all the logistics that goes into these things? They will not have enough to do. within this period.
They are even saying the price of local rice might soar.
The price itself is so high that already we know that significant number of people are pulled down below the poverty line on, on yearly basis. So we expect more Nigerians now to go below the poverty line, not for their own making, but simply because we didn't really plan. NIMET has been talking about flood. Why do government behave as if it's something surprising to them? And they even get more information than the ordinary man on the street we normally would have gotten.
Now, from your perspective as an agro-investment expert, how critical would you say Ebonyi State's rice output is to Nigeria's overall food security and economy?
You know, I always say something. Already we are in a state of food insecurity in this country. Because I say something that if all these statistics we get about those below poverty level, if Nigeria pulls 10% of these people out of poverty, such that they will be able to eat 3 square meals per day, can Nigeria afford to give them all this food without also working on the farm issue of food production? The answer is no. If Ebonyi that produces rice cannot even produce enough in the coming year for themselves, the implication is that they will have to take this rice from other places to bring down to Ebonyi for the people there to eat. And therefore, the impact of this flood, even if it's localized, is not really, but assuming it's even only Ebonyi, the effect, it has a ripple effect all around the whole economy. Because the implication is that there's no adequate food for people to eat. And the quality of food will be lowered, some quantity, because price increase will be more in the type of economy we operate. There will be increased prices across board. And I always say, if a trailer that runs every day to carry things now find they only carry 3 times a week, the tendency is to increase his price in order to be able to cover their cost, even his or the driver's cost of living. So there's reduced capacity across board. Now, remember that Ebonyi is a food basket. It is an agricultural economy, it's an agrarian economy, more or less. And almost 50% of their GDP is from agriculture, if not more. What that means is, if 50% is from their agriculture, rice is what we are using as an example. It simply means that it's affecting all other outputs. So if they lose even 35% of this 50%, that's 1/3. The impact on the revenue of the state, the impact on the earnings of the people, the impact on the civil servants, and across the whole of Southeast will be high. It will be very high. So I think the government really needs to step up their game.
Yeah, like you rightly said earlier, that Ebonyi State is known for the rice they produce to us. Yeah. Do you foresee any sort of crop diversification? Do you see farmers going to look for maybe other crops to plant instead of rice? And how do you think this would impact the economy?
Remember that rice needs water, but because the flood is perennial and lasts for a reasonable amount of time, so the rice destroy. Most crops will be affected by the flood. So it's not about changing to another product. And sometimes there is knowledge the farmer has gained over time, because this is what he does year in, year out. It's not always easy to shift to something else, because that will be another learning curve for the person. So, but what I see instead is a lot of people may decide to withdraw from the agriculture entirely. Remember, some of these people did one or two, maybe you labor in the, let me just use an example, that's not exact, but if I'm a transporter, I've made some money and I've been carrying rice. So next time I decide, let me invest in rice too. And I invest either through a third party, a farmer who will say, I give you money, we do together, or I get land, I put workers and supervise it myself. And then this flood happens. That person's savings has gone. And he is not recouping it. So for him to come again, the first experience will give me a kind of mental barrier. Say, no. I don't, because I'm a farmer, so I know these things happen. They shock me too much. I said, look. So if now some young people withdraw, that it's not worth their while, that 3 years of labor, money gone down the drain, the implication is that production will reduce. All the efforts government has made in the past, giving them incentives, giving them seeds,
and even encouraging young people to go into
agriculture. Now you are looking at, in the next 1 year, how am I going to cope? I'm now for palliative. I'm now going to queue to collect a quarter bag of rice when I could have produced 20 myself. And then those who are in other kind of professions, even if they are not making much money in quote, they are more stable. They don't need that kind of help, begging. After working, you now beg to survive. I mean, it's going to discourage a lot of young people, definitely.
Yeah, this is something that might happen for the next, should we say, 2 to 3 months. We don't see the rain, stopping anytime soon.
Sure.
Yeah, how can farmers, cushion their losses this period? How can they, because as we're talking about, you're supposed to talk about solution.
Yeah.
You're into it. What steps should they take, to make sure that they don't lose as much?
Unfortunately, some of us who are farmers, we continue to repeat the same thing year in year, hoping by the grace of God that it will not be as bad as being predicted. And a lot of time we are disappointed because you already have the information. Farmers really do not have insurance per se, and if it's not yet due for harvesting, they cannot move in now. Even if you want to move in, you have to be careful if the flood level is extremely too high. Apparently, what still boils down to is government may have to divert resources to support the farmers again, to see them recover as quickly as possible. And I think that is actually what agriculture does really, because at the end of the day, government must continuously support them so that the impact of this flood, of this particular one, will be minimized. And then they can show clearly that they are solving the problem and that it will not repeat. Because if I have to go back, I have to be sure that's what happened this year. No, I can't stop the rain from falling, but I can minimize the impact of the flood. They should also go into continuous development of seeds that are more resistant to flood.
What kind of seeds?
No, rice seeds. Yeah, okay. It's continual research, better improved yield. They've been working on better improved yield. I have to give it to them in terms of getting it for the farmers. But now we know that the issue of climate change is real. It's real. So even merely the quantum of rain that will fall in the farm itself, even without flood, will be higher than the normal. Can the rice or any other crop for that matter withstand that quantum of rain? These are the things the government will have to do. And then enlightenment is very important. I can read what NIMET is saying. government release it, how did they pass this message to the farmer? At what time should they plant? You know, it is very clear. How can they be planting during, even when there is no rain, so that it can be all year round? These are the things government will have to get involved. I encourage them, and then give them compensation. It's very important. You have to pay them for the damages.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor Ifechukwu, for joining us on the program. It was such an insightful one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And that's all we can take on the Eastern Business Report. Till I see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another edition of the Afia Business Morning. I am Marvelous Apuamaga. Many thanks for staying with us.